how I can guarantee that I'm going to keep this project on budget. Number one, we do this with our uh, design build method.
Mhm.
So we break the project down instead of wanting to go and rush and get into a contract and say, hey, listen, I want to build this house. What's it going to cost me? We dive very deep and we actually break this down into three different phases, which would start with a concept design, a pre-construction, and then construction. And then each phase, for example, if your house is like $1 million or 2 million or 3 million, you're going to spend less than $10,000, which is like less than 1% or 0.03% of the project cost with us at the beginning to give you full clarity, where we can create an entire concept, create a floor plan, we can create a site plan, we can create a budget. We guarantee that the budget is going to be within 85% accuracy of the final number. And we create something that's going to be feasible for you in the first place. So you're going to know, hey, I love the design. We give you 3D renderings. I love the way it looks. And this is the budget. Now you're going to know that budget is not 100% because we haven't done any engineering. We haven't done anything like that. But it's going to give us a clear enough picture that we can confidently move forward. This is pretty different to what I've seen a lot of other firms do. A lot of other firms, a client will come to them, and they're going to hit them with a big number. Say that you want to design a custom home, they're saying, okay, well, we'll charge you between 50 to $75,000. And a lot of people invest that much money, only to find out that number one, they weren't happy with the design, and number two, they couldn't afford it, right? And a lot of with that sort of contracting methodology, I guess is like the technical jargon. It really breaks things up where you might just go directly to an architect, then the architect comes back and gives you plans, then you call three or four different contractors. The three or four different contractors give you a whole bunch of different opinions. They start trying to redesign. You get these redesigns and you send them back to your architect. And even just talking about it is confusing. So we don't do that. So as a design build company, we're builder centric, which means we didn't start off as architects. We started off as builders with a very good background in design that our owner had. And we use that to our advantage. Because 90 to 95% of the investment actually happens during construction. So you don't want to be, if you're worried about budget and making sure that we don't go over budget, you don't want to be working and having the lead person in your project be somebody who doesn't handle those numbers at all, or who's just reading it off of a pricing book that they can buy for 200 bucks online and then giving you those reference numbers when everything that you're doing is custom and unique to you. The other thing that we do, which is part of our process, has to do with the fact that we are a fixed price contractor. So being a fixed price contractor, not everybody does it. I hear a lot of people, they do cost plus 10%, 15%, 20, 30, whatever their rate is, which really just sort of, turns the entire process into like a commodity of who's the most professional looking builder who can do it for the cheapest rate. That leaves it to be incredibly open-ended. Like if it's a cost plus contract, you don't know for sure what it's going to end up at. You start with an estimate and then you're figuring it out along the way. What we do differently is that we do fixed price. So with a fixed price, if I underbid something like, hey, the trusses or, my tile installation, let's say I did tile installation for $10 a square foot for labor, and I can't find anybody to do it for less than 15. Unfortunately, for me, I'm the one who takes a loss when it's a fixed price contract. So I'm taking on all of that risk and holding it within myself because, again, I'm the professional. I have the connections. I've been doing this for 20 years. So I have that security and that safety measure. Whereas you as a homeowner who's trying to build their dream home, you don't have any of these contacts, right? But now you're expected to work alongside the builder and assess, hey, this is the best choice. And now you got to be reviewing contracts, and now you got to be reviewing the budget consistently. And most people who are trying to build their dream home didn't didn't sign up, to be junior project managers, right? Alongside with the general contractor that they're paying a 20% fee for. So that's another way that we guarantee it apart from our design build process. Um, One thing I will say, which is critical to this, is that 10 out of 10 projects, I always say 10 out of 10 projects have change orders. And I know everybody says, oh, hey, listen, we just want to have a price and we don't want any change orders, right? We don't want any change orders. No, 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 no. And so they just look at it as like a terrible thing, but nobody's ever going to tell you, hey, I want no flexibility to change nothing in my house whatsoever once I start. So if I want to change my countertop and make it a little bit nicer, I want you to tell me no, even if we have time. I don't just don't give me any flexibility, right? Nobody says that, so what I want to talk about changers, and I said like all projects have them, but I want to break down why they happen, because what I constantly see is that people eventually they do invest more than what they originally planned for. A lot of times they're happy to do so, you know. So I always say for change orders, it's a 10-10-80 ratio. It's like you're baking a cake, So it's a 10-10-80. 10% of the time, it's going to be hidden conditions. Something that was hidden behind the walls, your house was half eaten by termites, or you got water damage, or you had mold behind the drywall and you had no insulation, or the foundation was poorly built. That's a hidden condition, something that nobody could see because it was hidden. 10% is something that the city requests. For example, I'm doing a very big addition remodel for a house. It's practically going to end up being a custom home because I'm only leaving two exterior walls and everything else is being completely rebuilt. Well, guess what? Before approving the plans, the City of Miami Public Works Department wanted me to repave the section of the roadway that was in front of the house. And they said that it's a requirement, or it could come up as a requirement if the road is damaged on any project though it's over $100,000. It's like an automatic trigger. Now, did the client want to repave the front of the road? No. Did I want to repave the front of the road? No. Did I have a meeting to try and get that requirement removed? Yes, in person with the city. And they said, no, listen, you got to do it. It's this project is almost $1 million. You have no choice. Just get it done. And so that's what we did. Um, so that is a change order that was triggered by the city. But 80% of the time, 80% of the change orders is just a little phrase that almost every client uses. And the phrase is while you're here. While you're here, can you remove that wall? While you're here, can we convert this bedroom into a Florida room? While you're here, can you get rid of that column or that beam? Or while you're here, can you upgrade my railing of choice? Or while you're here, can we go ahead and do a pool? And they want to take advantage. Everybody wants to take advantage of the really big project and get as many things done as possible, because what they don't do is after they've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars or over $1 million on a big project, they don't want to 1 or 2 years down the line have to get contractors coming back to their house for another 3 to 4 weeks of work and just interrupt their lives all over again. So that's where, change orders come in. And I have to mention it just because it goes hand in hand with the budget. So what I've noticed is that while we're building and while we're going along with things, um, most clients are the ones who are going to request for additional work to be done. And I think that's the case when, number one, when you're first hiring a contractor, even if they're a referral, you still don't fully know this person. You don't know how they're going to execute their job. You don't know how they're going to be professional, whether or not they're going to be professional. But once they start working and once you're having really good communication and once you're seeing that they're doing very high quality things, your trust increases all the more. And they're like, wow, this guy's doing such a good job. Let me go ahead and actually get this out of the way because he's doing such a good job right now. I think I'll just give him this other stuff that I hadn't thought of mentioning. So I feel like people are sold on you like 90% of the way. 90% of the way. But while you're building, if you're doing a great job, they will be sold 110% to the point where some clients will be like, if I call them, I recommend something, I found like a hidden condition, and they're like, oh, that's bad. Don't worry, Miguel. Go ahead, take care of it. Send me the bill. I trust you. Oh, I trust you. I trust you. Constantly using that phrase. And that has to constantly be earned throughout the entire process, not just at the beginning, but in the middle, and even at the end, and even after the end. So, and then the last thing, which is very unique to us, is that we are ultra specialized, right? So, for example, I wrote down just this comment about that is like you're not going to ask a sushi chef to make you some KFC fried chicken. That's not what you go to them for. And you're constantly seeing all of these contractors with their banners, and the contractor banner says, "Oh, licensed general contractor. We do residential and commercial and industrial and hospitality and medical and blah and blah and blah and blah and blah." And so they get this license, which gives them the possibility of working in any one of these different industries. And then I think like, well, I'll be, everything to everyone. And at the end of the day, that doesn't actually allow them to fully learn and comprehend the nuances of each particular sector. Because we're a design build firm and we're a lot builder focused, we're not trying to go to this massive scale of building high rises or $50 million projects. We've stayed in something that we can easily control as a very boutique company. So we decided to become a design build firm in high-end residential with structurally complex projects. So we like niche down more and more and more and more until we've gotten to this point where like we're like in this tunnel and we're like in this race and we're not looking either side. So I would say that the types of projects that we're targeting, 80% of them are going to be very, very large additions and expansions of homes with integrated luxury remodels. So again, very, very large additions. And then 20% of our work is going to be custom homes. Right. So if anybody wants to come and build a custom home, we'll work with that client about 20% of the time. So out of every five projects that we do, one is going to be a custom home. Four are going to be really, really large additions, 1,500 square feet, 2,000 square feet, second story, third story, active rooftops, waterfront homes, very massive expansions. And then we don't necessarily close ourselves off, but if we do get like a large commercial project, because we did that for many years, I mean, we've been building for 20 years, we'll do it like on a referral basis. If we were referred to that project by somebody else who we had serviced in the past. Um, but being super ultra specialized has really allowed us to crunch our numbers, do our accounting, fully understand the process, and then increase the accuracy of the budgets that we're creating for our clients. Because again, if you are like another firm that's a general contractor who's working on residential, commercial, industrial, all different sectors, they have a very broad range of services that they provide. So they cannot be as precise as somebody who said, I just want to focus on this, you know? And I think that with that, all those different points, it really allows us to not just help clients stay on budget if they want to, but really help somebody to develop that budget as the as the project is progressing so that they can build their dream home and not feel limited in the decisions and the evolution of their project. So that really, when they start, it was going to be beautiful. But by the time that they end, it's perfect, you know? So.